David, joining us live is U.S. Representative Robert Hurt from Virginia's 5th District. He's here to talk to us about a number of issues, but the first thing I want to ask you, Congressman Hurt, is have you officially announced that you'll run for the 5th District again?
I have not. You know, I was reelected about a little under a year ago, and so we're in the middle of our term, and we're trying to focus on the big work that we have ahead of us in Washington. Not ready to make any announcements yet.
Okay, well, there is some big things going on right now. What is the latest in the GOP and the House as far as the Speaker goes? And do you support anybody at this moment?
Well, Madeline, you know, John Boehner resigned or announced his resignation several weeks ago. The idea is that he is going to step down at the end of October, and so that has, of course, led to this election process for replacing him. We have had a couple of false starts, and now as I think as we head back to Washington, we're going to be faced with hopefully a couple of candidates to choose from. One of them, I think, as you know, has been mentioned, is Paul Ryan, somebody who has a lot of respect, I think, in our conference, somebody who I think could bring the conference back together so that we can get back to doing the really, really important work that we have to do on the domestic front as well as the international front.
Right.
So you support Paul Ryan?
Well, I'll withhold an endorsement at this point, but I will say I think that he is uniquely qualified and has deep respect on the broad spectrum of our conference.
I know the Congress is facing some pretty important deadlines coming up. Highway funding runs out 10/29. The debt ceiling is hit November 5th. You got a stopgap spending bill, expires December 11th. A lot of small business owners, investors are really concerned about the uncertainty in the House. What's going to happen with these deadlines?
Well, and I think that's why, you know, we need to get a strong leader, somebody who is going to have the full faith and confidence of the conference in place as soon as possible, because we do have these looming deadlines that have got to be dealt with. The American people deserve that, and I certainly look forward to getting back to Washington and tackling those issues.
Well, domestically, as you spoke of, Senators Kaine and Warner are supporting stricter gun laws, and especially in light of what happened just down in Roanoke. What are your thoughts on that? Where's your stance as far as the gun laws are concerned here in Virginia?
Well, the first thing I'd say is what a horrific tragedy what we saw at Smith Mountain Lake in Franklin County. I'd also say that obviously we've seen even more recent news of tragic events like what we saw in Franklin County, and I think that as we look for solutions, and I think that these sorts of events should always cause us to re-examine policies that will make it less likely something like this will happen again. I think it's important that we do that. You know, some of the proposals, though, that we've seen as it relates specifically to firearms, I think it's important to note that, you know, they wouldn't have done anything to change the outcome of these specific events. Now, are there things that we can do to try to make sure that the significant laws that we have on the books are committed, have more resources committed to them, and that are better enforced? Absolutely. Are there things that we can do in the mental health arena that help try to prevent things like this happening by catching folks that have obviously severe mental issues, catching those things early? Those are things that I'm very interested in working on, and have been, in fact, this week meeting with mental health officials in the hopes that we'll be able to rally behind some meaningful policy.
But no further gun laws.
Well, like I said, I think if we can look at what we have on the books, and if there are things that we can do to make those laws more effective and making sure that the people that shouldn't have them don't get them, then those are things that we can consider, and that I believe we should consider.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you,
Madeline, Bob.
It.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, if you want to get the full interview again with Representative Hurt, we'll have it posted online at newsplex.com.